Hey, good morning here. The 2026 channel CropCast here for South Central Nebraska here in the month of August, the third day of the month of August already. And I am Tyler Brigdenhill, your technical agronomist. For college football fans, we made it. We're back in the month of August. There will be football played before the month is up. So, exciting things happening, but even more exciting happening in the weather department. If you look here in Kearney, Nebraska, about 105 growing degree units ahead of what we would call the normal 30-year trend. So, I've been looking at this one for most of the growing season, and again, this is indicating a May 1st plant date, but been watching this and slightly tracking ahead most of the growing season. Really, not a lot of ups and downs for Kearney overall. Now, similarly, if we look in the Midwest for precipitation ranks by climate district here for, again, a May 1st simulated plant date. South Central Nebraska looking at about the 63rd wettest or driest, however you want to look, year. So, all in all, given all the ups and downs that this growing season has given to us from a precipitation standpoint, pretty darn average overall. With looks in the future season forecast in the next 10 to 14 days, if you believe the future season forecast, everything looking like above average precipitation chances, a nice cooling trend coming the next couple of days. So what's that mean for the corn world? Really, when you look at where we're at in general from a growth and development standpoint, a lot of corn in an R2, R3 growth stage, anywhere from blister to milk. Probably even argue that some of those really early planted fields in April, heading into that dough stage before too long here. So, still a lot of water use being done. Obviously, we had some help over the past couple days here as of late in South Central Nebraska with a couple rain systems that moved through. But really, when you look at the corn growth cycle and the nutrition side of things, again, once we reach R4, that dose stage, about 84% of our nitrogen is being used, a good portion of our phosphate and potassium. Still a lot of sulfur ramp up when we get to even the mid to late R stages. You really see that kick in sulfur ramp up, which, again, for guys that can fertigate, a lot of positive impacts of running some sulfur through the pivot here late to get that kick. So a lot of conversations going on about pollination. Definitely some skips or less than ideal pollination, but also some fields that I felt like probably powered through a little bit more than what we expected them to. So when I think about the grain yield in corn, obviously we've kind of set that ears per area early. Kernel number we can still influence to a point. The only problem is most of the time that number is just simply going to go down because of stress or other indices that are coming into play. So we can still affect kernel number by saving as many as we possibly can, i.e., the max number that we fertilized back in Silky. But we can also look at that kernel weight. That's where this becomes really, really critical as influencing kernel weight from here on out. So doing things like following up on that fungicide application. This next 7 to 10 days are going to be critical of saying, hey, are we staving off what diseases we wanted to with that fungicide application here 2 weeks ago, or are we starting to see them creep up in the canopy? Do we need to reevaluate and maybe look at a second application? Um, More rain coming, maybe more relief, maybe some potential for higher yield potential. So be having that conversation with your seed professional locally on, hey, how much yield potential do we got left out here? And if that looks to start impactfully moving toward the positive, do I need that second application? Is that going to make sense? Why I talk about that is if we go into the next slide here and we look and think about the corn insect and disease portfolio, Southern Rust is an entirely different looking map than it was a month ago, right? I think we bought ourselves at least 2 to 3 weeks in terms of disease presence and severity for sure. Compared to maybe even the last 2 years. But the reality is it's here. Even if you're not highlighted in this map, I would tell you've probably got it somewhere in some severity. Now, again, this map is great to use as a resource. My coaching is don't use it as a all in or all out. Just because you're on this map doesn't mean you're covered top head to toe every product you have in Southern Rust. So use this as a scouting tool. Use it to get out in your fields and understand, hey, what is my disease severity today? Is that second application maybe going to be warranted? So have that conversation going forward. A lot of good corn looking out there. Made a trip up to South Dakota and Iowa. A lot of good fields out there for sure, and a lot of yield potential left to go. Now that doesn't stop at corn. That also works into soybeans, right? So a lot of soybean fields moving into R4. I've seen a couple in R5 even. So a lot of pod set being done here. The reality is we're in this really critical window in R3 to R4 that I really agree with on this map of disease index or dry stress index rather. So make sure we're being really positive in planning those applications of uh, either fertigation or just simply irrigation for those soybeans. The last thing we want to do is stretch them and really stress them now. So the more weight we can take off or the more stress we can take off of these plants, the better we're going to like it. So positive outlook for August rains. August rains make soybeans, so I really look forward to this next month and seeing what we're gonna get out of this. So as always, make every acre count, and we will see you next week.